Hey, you beautiful human. So, I get asked this question quite often over on the LinkedIn's and the Instagrams. They're like, hey, Jacob, I don't know what to post to get consistent leads on, the platform that I'm on. Or I've been posting and I'm getting lots of likes, but not many people are coming into my DMs. So, I wanted to make this video to show you my 7-figure content strategy. I used to call it my 6-figure content strategy, but after hitting 7 figures, to change the name a little bit. It's the same thing, it's the same thing that took me from 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 figures. It took me a while to sort of crack, and I want to show you and share with you the 4 fundamental pillars that got me there, right? So before we get there, we have to understand the buyer's journey. And this is something I didn't invent. But there is something called top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel, right? We want to attract at the top of the funnel, we want to nurture at the middle of the funnel, and we want to convert at the bottom of the funnel. And instead of doing, the conventional educational post, because people don't buy how-to tips and tricks, right? Like in a world of AI, it's so easy nowadays to just Google it, right? Or ask GPT. People buy your story. People need to resonate and feel relevant with what you're doing. So at the top of the funnel, I teach and I share. So that's like 30% of the time. Then at the middle of the funnel, I show 60% of the time. And I'll tell you what all of this means in a second. And at the bottom of the funnel, 10% of the time, I invite. So we want to map our content to this path so we can get our ideal client to go, gimme, 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 fetch their wallet and start swiping, right? Once you get this dialed in once, then, there's no going back, and hopefully I'll make it really memorable for you today. So number 1, the first pillar is teach content. Now, teach content is basically where we educate our audience with our ideal client in mind. And what we want to do is we want to map out 10 specific pain points they are facing, right? In my world, that's like they hate taking sales calls, they hate doing DMs, they fear of being judged, they're facing a little bit of imposter syndrome. So I map out those 10 specific pain points and I call them Hell Island. Because when you're on Hell Island, you need to cross over right into Heaven Island. You're not having a good time at the moment, and your pain points are what are keeping you from progressing. Now, just like I said, that let's say Hell Island is on the left side. On the right-hand side, we have Heaven Island, and those are all the desired outcomes that your ideal client wants to have. So in my world, it could be they want to make 10K a month, they want to buy a new apartment, they want to quit their job, they want to get consistent leads and work 3 to 4 days a week and build a business by design. That is what Heaven Island looks like in my world. And then I want to also map 3 misconceptions that are holding them back, right? And those misconceptions or myths, as I like to call them, are things that I went through in my own journey. Like when I was on LinkedIn building, I thought that engaging all day like a madman was what I had to do, or sending DMs was a thing. But I've proven that you don't need to do a lot of that, or that stuff works, but it didn't work in terms of the business I wanted to build. So when I say teach content, now we can post around these insights. But can you see, because we've mapped out Hell Island and Heaven Island and the misconceptions, that people will see themselves in it and start to feel seen. And while I do this teach content, I'm including the lessons learned, the mistakes I made, the advice I wish I had earlier, talking to myself 3 or 4 years ago. And the audience member who's reading it starts to see themselves right in there, right? So An example of teach content could be, I used to think commenting 4 hours a day would land me clients on LinkedIn. But here's what actually worked instead. So that's the teach pillar. That's number one. Number two is the show pillar. Show is basically, in my world, your unique mechanism. It is the plan that takes someone from Hell Island and into Heaven Island, right? From their pain point to their desire. And this to me is my most frequently used one because it's the plan. We're showing how we're going to get there. And I think of this plan as, some clear 3 to 5 steps they're going to take to go from point A to point B. And I love doing this because it's primarily how I type of content, not how to type of content, because it comes from you being this mad scientist, right, who's tried all these really cool things, and now you're basically just documenting your findings and sharing that plan. So I did another video the other week called How I Earn $273 a Day using a simple Google Doc and no sales calls. And what did I do? I documented the journey. I went and got $273 a day consistently. I showed the back end of my Thrive cart to showcase the transactions over those days. And then I broke down the plan of what I'm doing. Now, it doesn't mean if you follow it step by step, you're going to make exactly 273 days, right? But I'm showing you the mistakes I made. I'm showing you the pros, the cons, the lessons, my thought process behind assembling that. And once you understand that, then we can move forward. So it could be, how I set up ConvertKit to send emails, or how I landed a high ticket client in these 3 to 5 steps. Or it could be a bad plan as well, right? Like when I'm showing you something, it could be, how I lost a client because I did something. But that is basically your plan content. So we show someone the plan from Hell Island and into Heaven Island. Then the third pillar is our share content. This is where your belief building happens, right? This type of content is, it's technically unrelated to business, but it is related because in this case, what we're doing is we're sharing personal stories, we're sharing hot takes, we're sharing any lessons we learned from our day, any hobbies or lifestyle insights, or opinionated posts. This isn't fluff. It's exactly why certain people start to connect with you, right? For example, I went for a 10-kilometer run with my dog on Tuesday morning. No podcast, no phone, just a little bit of clarity. Or on LinkedIn, I've shared a lot about how much I love watermelon and how much I hate Crocs. Like, I am a Birkenstocks fella over here. People know that I have 5 pets, right? I've got 3 dogs and 2 cats. Or that I've got a daughter and I'm a newbie dad right now. Because that is my share content. It doesn't have to be crazy, but people buy into you before buying into what you do. And that's why it's such an important pillar. Now, don't do too much share content, because otherwise you sort of go into influencer land, and influencer land doesn't sell. But that's why when we gave it the percentages, we said we're going to teach and share 30% of the time. Because that's sort of the condiments, right? If we think of it like a little burger, that's the mayo and the mustard on the top when we do the share content. So that's pillar number 3. Then pillar number 4 is invite content. This is where you lead someone off the platform and into somewhere else. So if I'm on Instagram, for example, I want to get somebody out of Instagram and into YouTube, into my email list, or into my DMs to send me a message or my comments, right? That's why I've named it invite. Now, to get someone into that, because people buy with emotions and justify with logic, Our invite content is basically where we share wins, we share case studies, we share testimonials, and we highlight the results and show what's possible, and then we offer the next step. So an example of invite could be, my client Mike went from 5K to 7K a month. Here's how he did it. And you break down the steps, you tell them what you did so they can see themselves in it. And this has been by far one of my biggest hacks because I share what I did. I don't just like throw a random screenshot of like, look, here's Mike who made 5K, congrats. What I'm doing is breaking down how we got there, where Mike was before, where he is now after working together, and so on and so forth. And then when I say, do you want some help? You can DM me. They've already seen themselves in it, right? So that is the invite content. Now, we don't want to overthink it. Our content is there for visibility, and it becomes our most consistent salesperson over time, right? We want to let it work for us daily. And, the teach, show, share, invite little framework that I've used is my way of sort of simplifying everything so I don't have to overthink. Like, pretty much, like, this is me being that mad scientist, doing what I do best, just a mad experiment. It's all a mad experiment. I document the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Sometimes I have bad days, sometimes I have good days, and I don't shy away. I've just now put it into these little 4 buckets to help me teach my students and teach you how that is. So let's summarize. We've got teach content. We're going to teach somebody something from a story. I used to do something else, or I've come up with this and I'm going to teach you how to do it. Show content is the 3 to 5 step plan of how we're going to get there, and we're going to just break down something from a how I standpoint. Share content is like hobbies, interests, beliefs, your philosophy. And then invite content is case studies and testimonials, and you get people off that platform and into somewhere else. So hopefully you learned something in the process of me sort of doing my little afternoon walk and putting in my steps in the neighborhood. If you want to hit subscribe and you found this valuable, please hit the subscribe button. It's a doggy in here. And also, if you have any questions, please just drop them down in the comments below. And I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. So thank you so much for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next video.